Hello and welcome to this week's video. Slightly different, I'm just going to show you, this is the legs for the PS5 Spider-Man that I've been working on, or this is the ball joint for them. I wanted to get this off the bat immediately. I said they'd be ready for this week. I'm still in the prototyping phase. I haven't got a set of joints that work consistently yet, and I don't want to start selling anything that isn't going to hold up to my quality levels. I don't want to send ball joints that are going to wear down too quickly. I don't want to sell ball joints that are going to be too loose. So I'm running a lot of tests. I'm literally just showing my entire process so I can explain this. There were meant to be a few prototypes ready for today to show off in this video to then list on Etsy. As you can tell by the fact that I'm showing you more ball joint prototypes, they are not ready yet. I will be making a community post when they are ready. Obviously, if you want to completely skip this part, you can skip ahead to the video. But yeah, just to answer any questions, this is where I'm at with these joints. I'm also not going to be selling much on Etsy for a little bit, so everything shown in this video, the web wings and stuff, will be available on Etsy still, and I do plan on selling the Miles feet that you see in the thumbnail as well, but I have taken a lot of stuff off my Etsy for the time being because I've been overrun with orders and I cannot keep up with them currently, so I've taken them down just while I catch up and process the existing orders. With that being said, on with the actual video and let's upgrade this figure. So first things first, obviously this is the Miles Morales from the Spider-Man 2 PS5 game. Now this figure is fairly good, I love the detail on it, the sculpt work is great. It can already hit some okay poses, but it doesn't get much more than that. So this is a pose I want to revisit once I've got all the articulation implemented and once it's working better, just to get a more organic looking pose out of this, because although this pose is good, obviously it could be better. There's a few issues with the hip movement and the shoulders and the neck and the lack of toe articulation. So you can see here I'm just checking what I actually need to do. This happens quite a lot in videos. I tend to bring a figure out, kind of look at it briefly before I start the video and then realise there's more work to be done than I had originally thought. But you can see there just how little movement we got out of the shoulder butterfly joint and how little raise you get out of those legs, and the fact they scratch up. So they have like a scuffing issue already that a lot of people have complained about. But the first thing I'm going to do is fix this neck. Now it's very cold in my house, in my room at the moment. Just because it's so cold, I'm struggling to get this neck joint off, so I do go and heat it up using a hot air gun. It just makes it a little bit easier to remove. So this is how I upgraded my No Way Home figures as well. With a dumbbell joint like this, obviously you get a really nice range of movement, but the one thing that Hasbro seems to struggle with is getting that upwards movement. So just by cutting in with a scalpel, you can take a little notch out the back and it leaves an area for the actual ball joint to sit into. Similar to the way they did the Renew Your Vows body mold and the Retro Spidey body mold. I don't know why they didn't continue it for this. It would have been a very simple thing to implement a little groove in the back, but whatever. You can see there just how much more range you get. And then with the head back on, you can see we're getting a lot more range upwards. He can look straight up now. So a lot better, it's a very simple fix. Now the next thing I want to fix is just these butterfly joints, because they don't seem to work nearly as well as they should. And I had a sneaking suspicion it was the same with the Andrew Garfield figure. So I'm going to heat it up. Again, using a hot air gun instead of my normal hot water trick. I had to make this video quite quickly today, but my suspicions were correct. You can see we've got a massive lump of plastic on the end, which is really redundant because they've given nice butterfly joints, but then put a massive lump of plastic that prevents you moving them very much. I don't know why they do this, but you can see I've plugged those shoulders back in, and then I've plugged the arms back on. And you can see now we're actually getting the full use of those shoulder joints. They are a slight bit stiff, I did actually put this figure in the freezer because I'd heat gunned it so much it became quite soft and flexible and the joints weren't holding up, so I just chucked it in the freezer for a little bit just to cool it down. That's why this is so stiff now. But yeah, you can see you're actually getting some nice movement out of that butterfly joint. Such a simple fix. You could do this with boiling water. You obviously need a tool or like a flathead screwdriver or something to pry the actual joint out. But yeah, a relatively simple fix. So obviously the next thing I want to move on to is this awful hip movement. Once again using the heat gun. And it's mainly just this extra plastic, which doesn't add too much. You can see that the heat gun did fix a little bit of the scraping that I had going on at the groin area. You can obviously still see some of the scuffs, but it did seem to fix it a little bit, which is interesting. So if you've got those issues, if you heat it up a bit, it does seem to fix it a little bit. Then using the rotary tool, you can see I've scrapped a whole lot of that plastic off. Just doing a little comparison here to show the difference between obviously the removed excess one and then the just standard one. So you don't quite get up to 90 on the standard one. But then if you go and take out the excess plastic, you can get past 90. Not much past 90, but past 90 nonetheless. It is very bizarre that they didn't take this into consideration. It looks like they've tried to make the silhouette nicer, but the legs actually stick out from the body anyway. So it doesn't make much difference with that. But here you can see both of those ground down. And you'll see at the end of the video some of the poses you can get them into. At the end of the video I do also have a teaser for a very long project I'm working on. And it's a big one, it's one that was suggested to me on Instagram, it's one that I have thought about, but there was a lot of demand for it. And it is Toy Biz related. So stick to the end of the video, it'll be very obvious who it is. But anyway, here you can see the 3D printed feet I do. I do not paint the bottom of these feet. I'm aware that this makes them slightly inaccurate, because obviously it's meant to be completely metallic red, sorry, at the bottom of those feet. The reason I don't paint the bottom of the feet, or the bottoms of the feet, sorry, is you can end up with paint scraping, it kind of gunks up the actual hinge, and it's a very inconvenient thing to paint when I've got so many to paint, because I tape them down using the bottom of their feet to paint. So I print in black plastic, or black resin I mean, because it works for most of the figures, having a black base to them. But yeah, I don't paint the bottom of these feet, they're all left black at the bottom. I'm aware that makes them slightly more inaccurate for Miles, Toby, and the final swingsuit, because I believe the final swingsuit's red on the base of the feet. If I can get some red resin, then obviously the feet will stay red at the bottom. But for the time being, they're black at the bottom, because it's the resin I'm using, and I plan on keeping those black or red. I don't plan on changing the colours for the base. Here you can see he does exactly what I require for my Spider-Man figures most of the time. If they can't balance on their toes, I don't think they work very well as a Spider-Man figure. Here you can see some of the more dynamic poses you can get them into. And some of the less dynamic poses you can get them into. So using those shoulder joints that we upgraded, the neck articulation and the hips, you can see you can get some much more acrobatic poses out of him. He looks more flexible, that's probably because he is. But now one more thing I needed to add were his web wings, which obviously they're not clear. If you see in the game, they've got a red gradient from the outside to clearer on the inside. These will be available in my store. The link will be in the description, but these probably won't be up for sale just yet. Again, I'll make a community post when all of this lot is up for sale and is ready to be shipped. Or not ready to be shipped, but ready to be sold. Now my posing for these web wings wasn't ideal. They're not clip-ins, they don't attach through resin anyway, they're just blue tacked on the back. You can see you don't need much blue tack to hold them in place. And I'm actually very happy with how this gradient came out. For different figures you can actually heat these up in boiling water and pressure fit them to a figure to get the perfect contours of the body. But yeah, here is the final figure and a little sneak preview which you'll see soon. But thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video.